that you beat the Nuggets without their two best players in Jokic and Murray. But here's the thing. The self-inflicted wounds, we've talked about this a lot with the NBA. Like, what are they doing? I saw a stat. Tom Haberstroh from Yahoo put this out there. So I didn't even realize this. Do you know the NBA has a definition of a star? Like an actual, within the rulebook definition of a star. And they do that because the player participation rules. You're giving me a look, Smalls. Everyone should give me that same look.
That's interesting.
The definition of a star, they designate a star as an all-star or all-NBA in this season or any of the previous 3 seasons. Okay? So star has a definition.
Okay.
Haberstroh pointed this out, Yahoo. Last night in the NBA, all across the board, 21 stars played, 21 stars did not play.
Ooh. Wow.
That's the problem. Right there. And take the win and run with it. And Denver won without those guys.
Yeah, but we didn't have LeBron James.
Right. You had Luka.
Yeah.
And by the way, the star thing's a little bit tricky, right? Andrew Wiggins, by that definition, is a star. He's on the Heat. They could have used him last night. I don't know that you would equate Andrew Wiggins and Nikola Jokic. Offense. But do you think...
So disrespectful.
Well, I could say no offense, but it's beyond offensive. So I'm just going to acknowledge that is offensive. But there's some self-inflicted wounds there. You take it, you run with it, you win. You don't have LeBron James. As you said, you're now the 3 seed in the Western Conference at 43-25. You have the same amount of losses as the Rockets, who are now the 2 seed riding an 8-game winning streak. At what point do we sit back and say, you know what? JJ Redick is just this good as a head coach?
Oh, I think we've already figured that out, right? The last time that the Nuggets and the Lakers played, Michael Malone said J.J. Redick coached circles around him. So we had to give that man his flowers. Defensively, I don't know how he's doing what he's doing. It's all smoke and mirrors because you don't have a lot of guys that are out there as plus defenders. But last night, the Lakers forced 19 turnovers that led to 30 points for our squad. Think about that. Like, the Nuggets are a team that's buttoned up. I get it. They didn't have their point guard. They didn't have the head of the snake in Nikola Jokic, who orchestrates a lot of their offense, especially in the half court. But they had 19 turnovers, the Denver Nuggets, that led to 30 Lakers points. That's damn impressive, man. I mean, you look at what they've been able to do, being able to outscore the Denver Nuggets when it comes to three-point shooting, being able to out-rebound the Denver Nuggets. All of those things aren't necessarily categories that you would say the Lakers had a clear and obvious advantage against that given opponent, but yet and still they found a way, and that's why you got to give J.J. Redick his flowers. There was a lot of talk, a lot of bluster about what he would do if he were an NBA coach a year ago, and now that he's got this opportunity, he's making good on it. So respect to him. When you got a night where Luka drops 31 and doesn't have to play in the fourth quarter, you're doing something right.
Yeah.
So credit to him for being able to figure this out, and I do think that this time with LeBron sideline allows Luka Doncic to step into his own as, you know, the guy for the Los Angeles Lakers. I think it's a lot easier for him in terms of being able to take more ownership of this team with LeBron James being sidelined for a couple of weeks. So not to say that this is ideal, but I do think there's a silver lining with LeBron's injury. Not just him getting the rest, but also Luka having an opportunity to step into the forefront as one of the faces, if not the face, of the Los Angeles Lakers.
And he's been passing that test with flying colors. Luka's been outstanding. But I'm with you. We need to give J.J. Redick credit. He's been great. And there was a lot of questions about him when he got hired, if he was going to be able to execute at a high level because he'd never done it before. But if we're going to give J.J. Redick credit, do we then have to give LeBron James credit too? And by that, I mean, in the beginning of all of this, when JJ was hired to be the head coach and Bronny was drafted, LeBron took a lot of heat in that moment. Even though he distanced himself from the hiring, everybody externally was like, this is your podcast partner who has never coached in the NBA before, never coached at a high level before. And all of a sudden, he is going to be the coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, one of the most important properties in all of sports. That doesn't really happen. And I'm sure that wouldn't happen without your blessing. So if we're going to credit JJ for being this good, do we somehow have to give LeBron retroactive credit for being somebody that got him in that position?
For those who didn't, yes. I remember when that happened, I said, this is actually a good thing because I don't remember a time in LeBron's career in partnership with the leadership position that was technically, quote unquote, above him. Now, there's actually no one above him, including the majority governor of a team. He's the most powerful person in this sport, right? Still to this day. But it felt like, okay, I'm going to be partners with this. Like even Ty Lue, who was phenomenal. I never felt like he was 100% partnered with at all times with the Cavs.
No.
He tried to get Spoelstra fired 17 games into the first season there.
Oh, he's never met a coach that he didn't want to fire.
Except this one.
For now.
For now.
Yeah.
Give it time.
Okay, in the
It's
moment.
pretty early. Honeymoon phase.
That is a fascinating question. If you had to bet $1 right now, will LeBron James one day try to get JJ fired?
I don't think LeBron James got that much runway in his career.
I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah,
So there's not, only because there's not enough time to get him fired.
probably.
And with Luka coming over there now, I think it's a different equation.
But why do you? I don't want to take a negative spin on this thing. We got a good thing going in LA right now.
I was just saying, LeBron takes so much heat, and I don't think he should in this instance. I think some people should apologize to LeBron.
He's had a phenomenal year.
Well,
phenomenal, on and off the court. Phenomenal year.
If we're going to give him credit for the JJ Redick fine, then we have to give him criticism for how all of the other coaching and roster decisions went in years past.
Okay, that was a negative spin, and I like it. I agree with every
it's a
part of
negative
it.
spin. Like, if we're going to give him credit for JJ Redick, then we got to acknowledge he made a mistake with going with Russell Westbrook over DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah.
As he had. He chose the third best option in that scenario.
Exactly.
I like that you just were the one that said, hey, keep it positive, and then you found retroactive ways of ripping LeBron James.
Totally.
Well done. I like it.
I put it on a silver platter for you.
LeBron James.
Oh, you ripped him. You destroyed him. Lakers fan Chris Canty annihilated LeBron James.
That's not true.
All right, coming up. Saying no before you even had the opportunity to say yes. We will dive into that after smalls. And this is big picture for everyone out there. Forget this team specifically. Do you think this is the fun of being a sports fan? Or do you think this is where you regret being such an obsessive sports fan like all of us are?
Well, you can't enjoy the highs without going through the lows.
So I know you're a front runner.
Right.
So you haven't experienced this a lot.
I just leave and go to the next team at that point.
I've experienced a few championships in my day. Almost all
No
of
big
my
deal.
teams have won. No, but I'll tell you this. The single greatest sports moment of my life is Game 6, 2011 World Series. The Cardinals down to their final strike twice. The hometown hero, David Freese, steps up, triple to send it into extras, walk-off homer to send it into Game 7. They ultimately win the World Series. But the Cardinals are a crown jewel franchise. I had seen Cardinals championships in my life before, so as elated as I was in that moment because of the improbability of it all and just the obvious hometown ties to it all, that was one thing. When the St. Louis Blues won the Stanley Cup in 2019, after being dead last at a point in that season, firing their coach, oh, and by the way, they go on this magical run to win the Stanley Cup for the first time in franchise history, that one meant more because of all the heartbreak, all the tears, all the pain that we as a city had endured with this specific franchise for decades. So you haven't experienced this a lot because you chose in adulthood to attach yourself to teams that win a lot. that's not a bad thing, but I'm saying
Yes, it is.
This is a conscious choice you made to attach yourself to winning, and you've experienced a lot of winning. So this is very foreign to you and probably cuts deeper is what I'm getting at.
So, yes, understood all of that, right? And I totally get the Blues versus the Cardinals in that regard. With the Heat, just for context, I'm not a front runner with the Heat. I am with the Patriots. I chose the Heat because I didn't have an NBA team growing up that I liked more than others. I would just like the league. For whatever reason, I didn't like the Knicks growing up here in New York. I moved to South Florida in 2003. This is before Wade, before Shaq, before Bosh, before James, before Butler. So they were just nice to me. I know that sounds ridiculous.
No, you like your team how you
they
like
were
your
a
team.
business that treated me well. So I'm like, I want to frequent this business.
Yeah.
Right? They were unbelievably nice to me. So I'm like, all right, I'm all in. And I don't think this is going to last, obviously. I mean, this is horrible. But not about the Heat. Here's what I don't understand. How do people do this? I have such respect for, the Browns fans or the Jets fans.
Yeah.
How do you do this?
Think about
I've
Lions
had 9
fans.
games and I'm miserable. Yeah, Javante's a Lions fan.
That's why I said it would be an amazing story if they went on and won the Super Bowl last year because of everything that they have endured. Their path to get to this point of being an actual contender has been a long, long road. A long road. So they deserve it. They deserve that payoff at some point in their fandom.
I'm thinking about our friends.
Boy, Javante really has it going, doesn't he?
He really does.
Yeah, front runner.
The Tigers were in the wild card last
Front
year.
runner.
You got the Lions. They had the top seed in the NFL.
Michigan won 2 years
In the
ago.
NFC, yeah.
He was
Michigan
asleep.
won a couple of years ago. I mean, the Detroit Pistons got it turned around. They're on pace for the most wins in franchise history since the 2007-2008 season.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan basketball just won the Big Ten tourney?
Yeah.
He got
What a front runner.
Javante got it going.
Been through a lot of pain.
Nobody can call him a front runner.
I just did 10 times.
No,
He goes, I've been through a lot of pain.
Nobody can call that man a front runner. He's been through too much.
He deserves this.
Too much.
I'm now fascinated by this because Smalls painted an interesting picture. Devontae, at any point did you think about giving up on any of these teams?
Yes, the Lions a lot of times. But I always thought to myself, at one point in my life, they had to be good, right? Like, even by accident, if they're not trying to. And now they're here.
Right. That's the thing. I've experienced a 9-game losing streak. 9 games. I've had 9 games in since 2003 when I started loving this team.